So I kind of want to start this video off by saying I'm starting to see a trend on social media, within the games media, and everybody talking about all these games that are coming out that aren't getting the best reception. Basically, what I'm seeing is when a game that comes out that isn't hitting with the general audience or with gamers in general, there seems to be finger pointing everywhere except internally. It seems that everybody's saying, why is it cool to hate on games? Why are gamers like this? And is the games culture just toxic? Are gamers just not accepting of new ideas to come out? And I have to say, no. I don't think we need to start blaming gamers for games that come out that don't hit the mark or don't meet expectations that gamers expect from games. Be it a free-to-play game, a $40 game, or as the games industry is trying to sell us, $80 to $100 games. So I'm here to tell you, stop blaming gamers for games that fail, because we are the customer, the gamers are the customer, and we need to start understanding what gamers truly want in their games, not what you're trying to dictate to them. I understand there's innovation, I understand there's things that might be risky, but at the end of the day, all that matters is if gamers are going to connect with something that you're making, and if it's truly up to us to be constantly ridiculed for just not liking some form of art that was created by developers that worked hard. So I want to get into everything because that's happening right now across the board. Everybody's talking about Highguard, Concord, and a bunch of other games that just failed, including Call of Duty. So let's get into all this, and if gamers are truly here to be blamed for all of this, or is the games industry just not in touch with what gamers truly want? Let's get into it. All right, so you know the drill. If you want to be kept up to date on all the gaming news and everything going on within the games industry, hit that like button and that subscribe button. It helps out the channel more than you know. All right, so I just want to get into this because I'm kind of frustrated, as you can tell. For a game that just came out, aka Highguard, which I personally thought was pretty enjoyable when I played it, yet didn't set the bar for shooters or become a new breed of shooters, I always felt that, hey, I don't know if this is going to really hit with the general audience, especially when the marketing team, or as we saw later, the dev team, really made a mistake in marketing this game. And I've talked about this in multiple videos, and I talked about how some of the ways they marketed this game really didn't appeal to gamers because nobody knew what it was, and by the time the game came out, it was already warped into everybody's mind of what they thought the game was going to be, while the developers just sat there silent. So I don't blame gamers for the terrible marketing that they did and the decision they made to put this game on the Game Awards and make it full-fledged the last game being shown. Do I think some gamers started hating the game because they don't like Jeff Keighley? 100%. I actually do agree with that. I think that's kind of sometimes what's happened is people don't like a certain content creator or they don't like a certain person in the games industry. And so anything associated with them or with something that they advocate for, they're not going to like it. Do I think it's the majority of gamers? No, I don't. I don't think it's close. And I want to jump into one of these articles kind of talking about how Highguard is running into this spiteful gamer and that it's not being given a chance to be played or giving it a chance to be a live service game that has longevity. So let's get into it. Highguard deserves a chance, so don't kill it out of spite. Chances are it'll be a long time until we see someone else come along and attempt weird genre fusions like Highguard again, for fear of risky new projects being handed a death sentence. Highguard's gone from one controversy to another since its announcement at the Game Awards, from its awkward reveal to the developers being weirdly silent until launch. A not insignificant number of people immediately wrote it off, calling it dead on arrival, the next Concord, if you will. Unsurprisingly, this frankly unjustified hatred of the very concept of Highguard being a game that exists has gone on to plague its launch. Despite pulling in nearly 100,000 concurrent players on Steam at launch, it's currently sitting at incredibly low 33% mostly negative reviews. If you've ever played a truly terrible game, a real 33%, then you'd know Highguard is far from that. I'm going to stop right there because there's way more in this article that I want to dive into, but I have to say that for it to say that it launched with 100,000 concurrent players, it launched with 97,000 at its peak, and since then has steadily freefalled, completely freefalled. I was one of those 100,000 people that played that game at its launch, and I really enjoyed what I played. Were there some times where I thought the game could be better in certain places? Do I thought there was gaps here, or the way the mechanics felt here, the optimization here? Of course, we can criticize that. The problem with this statement right here is that when you say that 33% are mostly negative and it launched with 100,000 people, that means that you're saying people didn't give it a chance and they just reviewed bombed it. Here's the problem with this. You are making people's objective opinion non-valid or invalid when it comes to reviews. That means every single review is invalid because you are not giving anyone their opinion to say what they want. There's a reason why Steam has reviews that people can put in there, and it shows how long they played. If somebody played the game for 10 minutes and said it sucked, you can ignore that review. If somebody played it for more than 3 to 4 hours or say 10 hours and reviewed that it sucks, you can take that any way you want. Either way, it takes the average of that, and so far it's been mostly or overwhelmingly negative because people just didn't understand the game or didn't like the way it felt. For 100,000 people to jump in the game at launch, play it, and then leave the game and probably go play something else is an indication that it wasn't connecting with its audience or the audience it was trying to connect to. Is it going to connect with them later on in a few months? We don't know. But so far, it has not. Do not blame gamers for a terrible marketing strategy, which the developer themselves has talked about, that they just kind of mishmashed this trailer together for the Game Awards, and it didn't really give a soul of what the game is. The problem is, your game doesn't have any soul. I know that's harsh to say, but I truly do feel that this game has really good tidbits of almost being good to great, but there's just these fine-tuned details that do not exhibit a great game. One of which, I will say right now, so we have this on early in the video, one of which is in Apex Legends, almost every single character kind of has a story to them. There's trailers, there's things around them. The hero, you understand who they are. Same with Overwatch, you kind of understand who they are, and they have small little tidbits of a backstory. We have no idea who these characters are in Highguard. None. No idea. There's no backstory, I don't think. There's no lore. There's nothing enticing about the characters that keeps you just a little bit interested. And then not to mention, all of their abilities don't seem that great. They don't seem as impactful as Apex Legends do or as Overwatch's abilities do. There's not a lot of differentiation between the characters. I've played almost all the characters, and I have to say, I'm mostly just shooting people and then using their abilities every now and then because the cooldown's so long that I don't really feel like it's a big part of the game, so to speak. So that's just one thing. And talking about the player base and all of that, maybe that's one of the things that disconnected some of these people from the game, is that they went away to play something else that they enjoy, be it another hero shooter, Arc Raiders, it doesn't matter. There's so many other live service games out there that gamers can play that Highguard has a high bar to fill if they want to attract gamers away from everything else. But let's take a step back and get back into the article. This is what else it says. I can understand why people have been so quick to judge Highguard is an awkward hodgepodge of genres that was poorly unveiled and a sharp departure from the developer's penchant for movement shooters. I, for one, wish we had a spiritual successor to Titanfall, and Highguard isn't that. However, Highguard deserves its fair shot for its own merits. Its genre fusion isn't slick, but it is interesting. I can't say I've ever played anything like Highguard before, even if all the bricks are inspired by other games. Are we really hating on Highguard for being a generic copy-paste that's not trying anything new? If so, how come recent hits like Marvel Rivals and even Arc Raiders, to an extent, haven't faced similar criticism? I love these games, but let's not pretend they've reinvented the wheel any more than Highguard. Okay, this is also one of the other issues with Highguard. Is right out the gate, they mentioned two very beloved franchises, Apex Legends and one of the best franchises that people love in Titanfall that have been wanting Titanfall 3 for years. When you associate yourself with those two franchises that people thoroughly enjoyed, there's a high mark for you to set. You say you're former developers of those games, and this game feels nothing like those. Maybe, just maybe, don't compare yourself to other shooters to get a wow factor. Make your game stand on its own merit instead of trying to jump on the shoulders of other franchises that you might have had a hand in elevating to what it is today. Don't do that. Just don't. And now you're even bringing up Marvel Rivals and Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders shouldn't even be compared to this game. It is a completely different game. It's an extraction shooter. People like it because the scenarios in it. It's not competitive. It's not trying to be competitive. It's trying to be its own experience that people enjoy. Does it have issues? Of course, but people have looked past that because of the experience they've gotten from it. Marvel Rivals has Marvel backing it. It has the heroes of Marvel. They're recognizable. They have a lore. People understand what they are. And every hero feels very different than the other. I've played Marvel Rivals a lot, and I gotta say, it's not a game that I jump to every single day. It's a game that I play every now and then. It's not the best, but I enjoy it because I understand the characters, and I'm a comic book geek. You can see my comic books up here on this mantle and everything. I love comic books. That's the little hook that Marvel had. Highguard doesn't have any of those hooks. They don't have anything to bring you in except we are a shooter, which, by the way, they took out in their Steam description that they helped build Apex Legends and Titanfall. They took it out of the description. I don't know why. Maybe it's some legal reasons. Maybe the franchises didn't want to be associated with that game because it looks bad. Or the developers finally realized maybe we shouldn't compare ourselves to these super established franchises that we might have helped build. And maybe we should just have Highguard stand on its own merits like we've should have done since the beginning. And the article even mentions that when it talks about its departure and acknowledgement of how kind of it's a hodgepodge game and how they kind of messed up the marketing and the reveal. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you didn't market the game well and gamers didn't connect to it. Stop trying to blame gamers for everything that goes wrong in the world or everything that goes wrong in a game that people for some reason have this fascination that they needed to succeed. Not everything is meant to succeed. Life is unfair, man, and it sucks. Do I want Highguard to succeed personally? Sure, I would like another shooter that I enjoy. That's something that I want. And I've had some really good moments in the game. I've played it a bunch and I've enjoyed what I've played, but I will not sit here and watch people all over the news media talk about how Highguard is being killed out of spite because gamers just want it to fail. That's not what's happening here, man. People are not connecting with it. 100,000 users or 97,000 users, and it's absolutely free-falling. And I'm talking about people that I know personally in my life, friends that I play multiple games with, who don't pay attention really to social media and all that. They've even told me that, it's not really a game that I really connected with. I didn't really care. I don't really want to play that. Do you want to play some World of Warcraft, or do you want to play some Arc Raiders, or do you want to play something else? They're not really connecting with the game. I've actually had to tell them, like, just give it a chance, install it, let's see what we can do with it. Because I like playing games thoroughly before completely judging them. What I can judge them on is it not connecting and their advertisement and the way they marketed it. That's what we can judge them on, because that has nothing to do with within our control. We can tell them, you didn't market this right. That's what gamers can do. They can put their opinion out there anytime they want. It's not out of spite. It's out of, hey, maybe do better next time because this sucks. And so when we look at this, are some people being completely harsh where they're saying it's dead on arrival? Sure. And the article kind of points that out here. By marking Highguard as dead on arrival and review bombing that into reality, yes, Wildlight's pet project will inevitably die. Even if the developer claims it doesn't need super huge player counts to be successful, and chances are it'll be a long time until we see someone else come along and attempt weird genre fusions like Highguard again, for fear of risky new projects being handed a death sentence before being given a fair shot. Don't forget that the current climate is already stacked against new ventures. With time, I'm hopeful Highguard's performance issues can be fixed, more content can be added, and potentially even more impactful changes to its core gameplay. I'd like larger teams and better looting, for example. That is one of the weird... Okay, how do I even unpack that? Number one, the developer even mentions that they don't need a large player base for this to be profitable for them or to be successful. So why did you need to go on the Game Awards and advertise your game in the wrong way that you weren't really prepared to do for the last 4 to 3 years that you were building this game out? Why even take the risk? Why not just shadow drop the game, bring it out to some users, and let it build momentum over time where a lot of gamers don't have a terrible first impression of it? That's number one. The developer themselves says they don't need super huge player counts. Okay, so then why do that? It doesn't make sense. You should have done something very different on the marketing team, or even talk to your marketing team if you don't need that many people. And the other thing this article brings out is that they sound like they've played the game. And they bring up performance issues need to be fixed, content needs to be added, impactful changes to its core gameplay. I'd like larger teams and better looting. Hello? Like, do you not see that? You even played the game and you see what gamers that gave it a shot saw? That the performance was really bad, especially on the consoles. I'm hearing. I hear the consoles are really bad, and the performance on PC, I have a 4090, and even I ran into some performance issues. Was it game breaking for me? No, but I have a 4090, a top of the line graphics card. So I didn't expect to have that performance issues, but I knew it was there because I can tell the way it ran on my hardware. You see the answer in front of you. You don't want it to die out of spite, but then you answer your own questions and your own concerns right in front of you, or the questions and concerns that gamers had this entire time about the game. And when they played it, they voiced some of those concerns, put them in reviews, and said, this is the issues I'm seeing, because that's what's happening on Steam. A lot of people are bringing up like, hey, this is an issue, and it's a very fair review, but now you're discrediting them as this is just review bombing. It's not. It's not review bombing. It's people playing the game, trying it out, and then being like, hey, this is some of the stuff that you can fix. These are some of the gaps that we see. Don't try to silence gamers, man. Just don't. Don't try to blame them for a game that dies. Blame the people that created it and took the risk of advertising their game a certain way. And this is, again, coming from somebody that really is intrigued by the game, but understands the pitfalls that it has or the missteps that the developer had throughout this whole process. And let's be real, the game is not perfect. It really isn't. It's a cool game, but it's not perfect. Apex Legends didn't launch perfect, but it was close. It had a lot of great things going for it that people didn't see in a BR and really enjoyed. And so when I see all these criticisms and saying don't kill the game out of spite, they're not. Gamers are playing it and giving it a fair shot. It was free to play, 100,000 concurrent players, as you mentioned. Yet it free-falled because all those players are not review bombing it. They're just not enjoying the game. Even the article mentions that about how it's not perfect either. As it stands, it's far from perfect, but sacrificing it for fun isn't helping anyone, and removes the opportunity for Highguard to build on its foundations. Sure, you might not like it now, that's fine, I don't even love it, but maybe you would later down the line in a potential future voice valid criticism and let things play out whether you love it or hate it, but review bombing sends a bad message to the industry that will backfire for everyone. No. This article sends a bad message to the games industry because you're trying to say that a lot of the reviews in games, or at least this game, are not valid, that you shouldn't listen to these gamers. That is a dangerous line to walk and a dangerous precedent to set within the games industry and developers, because they're not going to look internally and say, what can we do better? They're just going to say, oh, it's just a bunch of trolls online. This is just how gamers are. Nah, man. That's not the way it is. I'm sorry. Go through the reviews, see what people are saying, see the criticism online. This person even says they don't love the game. And so you need to go through and kind of look internally of how you can save or salvage your game without it being basically insulting to gamers who gave it a shot. Because a lot of them did. 100,000 gave it a shot. And since then, it's gone down. And the reviews are not better. They're not getting better. They're not moving forward. It is mostly people playing it and kind of confused on what you built. And if you have to spend 30 minutes explaining the game in a video, which is kind of insane, you really think about like, did we make this too complex? Did we go into the lab and overcook this and make this way too much? How did we make this? How did we think of this? Did we user test it? Or were you just in kind of a cave by yourself developing a game with friends and you think this is a cool idea to fuse all these things together? Now, as somebody that has a lot of time in shooters, I enjoy the dynamic of it. I think it's a little too much here and there. I think some things could be trimmed out, but overall, I like how you go from defending, looting, capture the flag, and then basically search and destroy. That's what the game looks like to me every single time. That's the way I see it. That's the way I play it. And I enjoyed it for that. But I'm also somebody that has multiple hundreds of thousands of hours in shooters, and casual gamers and other gamers don't have that much. So when they jump into a game and you have to explain it to them like it's calculus, I don't think that's a good marketing strategy, and I don't think that's good for gamers, and I don't think that's good for your game. So overall, to kind of close this all out, I think that Highguard has potential to do something, but I also think that that potential was killed when they did a marketing blunder, and then when they brought the game out, they didn't explain it very well of what it is. And on top of it, there's just so much controversy surrounding it that it's kind of just hurting it. The developers went way too silent for way too long, didn't explain the game. People built this stuff up in their head. Jeff Keighley, who people like and hate, it's kind of like one or the other for some reason. He advertises it, and now people don't like it, or they're going to love it and give it a shot. And when they did give it a shot, the player numbers went down and reviews went negative. So look internally, understand that gamers aren't to blame. They're not here to just be beaten up like a punching bag every single time. Take some responsibility and make a game, or maybe even patch the game to be something better than you thought it was going to be, and adjust what it is. Adjust your vision. I mean, Fortnite did that. They were doing like base building and like zombies and all that, and then they adjusted to a BR because they listened to the feedback that people had and what gamers really wanted. Maybe you could do the same thing. Adjust your game. Don't be stubborn. Don't be stubborn because you think that there's just trolls online and gamers just doing whatever they want. That ain't it. Make sure that you kind of go back and look internally and understand that sometimes products need to change, and sometimes the thing that you brought out just didn't hit, and maybe you can adjust around the assets you have. That's the whole point of a good scoped product management, and of course a good scoped leadership that understands how to deliver things to its customers. But I actually want to know what gamers think. I want to know what everybody thinks. Go in the comment section. Do you think that this article is validated in any way? Do you think that gamers are just trolling? Do you think that it is just getting review bombed? Or do you think there's valid criticisms about the game that should be addressed in patches and the developer and giving us updates and making sure that we get the game that we all truly wanted? And I think that they have to, because Marathon's right around the corner. A bunch of other games this year. 2026 is stacked. So you need to have something that stands out and completely overtakes gamers for you to have a chance in 2026. Go down below and let me know if you think that Highguard has the potential for that. And like always, if you like the video and you want to stay up to date on gaming news and all the stuff going on in the games industry, hit that subscribe button and that like button. It helps out the channel more than you know. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and enjoying talking to the community. I don't post as often as I want to, but hey, I try to, and I really enjoy engaging with the community there. And of course, like always, I always want to know what gamers are playing. Let me know what you're playing down below. Right now, I am playing Highguard a lot more than anything else because I want to give the game a really good, fair shot. So far, it's okay. It's enjoyable. A couple gaps here and there that I think can be, addressed. But hopefully they start talking to gamers and make people understand, like, hey, we're here listening and we're going to change the game up for you. Let me know what you're playing down below because I always like knowing what people are playing. And that's all for now. Like always, and until next time, enjoy your gaming. Later.